Una. Hjälp oss med magnifying. Tu för ög. Kall ut. Good morning, my friends, and happy Wotens Day to you. Woden really celebrates, embraces, and fully encourages wisdom. Today I want to start by saying talk to all of those of you who signed up, followed, liked, subscribed, secret handshake with all the different platforms. I can only begin to express my deepest appreciation. In addition, questions are rolling in. Those of you who have come by and stopped by the website to ask a question and help me and you learn our spiritual trajectories. Remember, in our spiritual journey, no one's wrong. They have a different perspective. They are traveling a different path. So, be kind. Today we talk about Woden. Now, Woden, of course, is an old Germanic god. He was recognized by the Germanic tribes as they migrated north from the Celtic influences of the Iberian Peninsula. Woden, along with many other recognized deities of the Germanic people, would evolve and migrate north with the people, and thereby becoming whom we know as Woden or Odin. Now, Odin, of course, sought throughout his lifetime, sought peace, but he sought wisdom and knowledge and just harmonies of people. Now, having said that, Woden, like all of us, fought wars as well. Fought wars both in his world, in the physical realm, in addition to the wars that were fought up here. Woden, like us, one of the, sidetrack, one of the things I very much appreciate about the gods that I recognize, the gods of the Norse peoples, ancient Norse peoples. The gods demonstrated flaws. They weren't perfect. They weren't this ideal thing. They struggled just like we did. They struggled with the same emotional challenges that we do. The anger, the frustration, the sadness, the mourning, all of these, the happiness, the joy, all of those emotional energies, my deities exposed themselves to. It speaks very frequently throughout many of the different texts about Odin or Thor or the many, Sif, Idun, many stories about these individuals spoke of their emotional fluctuations, their emotional journey. And sometimes they made good decisions and they made the right, loving decision. And sometimes they didn't. They were flawed. They weren't flawed. They were learning. And this is one of the things that I want to tell you about you. Many times we have a tendency to immediately pounce on ourselves and say, oh, you're silly and you made this horrible mistake and this, that, and the other thing. But what we have to remember is there is a pretty fine line. Matter of fact, there is no line. It just is. A perceived mistake is a learning opportunity. Period. That's what it is. When we make the mistakes in our lives, we have two choices. We can either A, continue to run with it and just let it be whatever. Or B, we can learn from it, grow from it, evolve from it, and move on. All right? Life, our experience in life, is not easy. Lack of a better way to put it. It's not easy. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to fail. And that's okay. That really is okay. We need to learn from it. When we fail, we need to ask ourselves, why did I fail? Did I attempt a feat too big, too complex, too whatever? Did I not put my whole heart into it? And did I only do it half focused? All of these things, all of these thought processes, we need to always stir up when we perceive. Remember, it's going through our filters, and what our brain says is on the output of our emotional filters. So if we are feeling rather blue or sad or depressed maybe, we have to be cautious of what that output is, right? Because we have to suspect it. Is that reality, or did our emotional filters alter that experience? Because they'll do that. This speaks very much to things like blind rage, right? Is that our emotions have just blocked out all sensory input, and we're doing something, okay? We can learn from all of our perceived failures. But remember, and keep this in mind as we're moving down our trajectory towards our destiny. Each step that we make in a perceived poor direction or a rich direction, whichever, each step we take in our trajectory is necessary for us to arrive at a particular place in our lives. I'm always reminded of my own personal experience where I went down a very dark path. High-speed motorcycles, drugs, alcohol, very risky behavior in an attempt to escape the emotional crush that I was under, I perceived I was under. And although I wouldn't do it again, nor would I recommend anyone else doing it, it took those steps to get me to the place where, when Woden appeared to me and explained my birthright and explained my journey forward, it made sense. Had I not made those errors or steps, perceived errors, those missteps, perceived missteps, I would have never arrived at that point. Therefore, Woden may never have come to me. So while we may be making a perceived poor decision today, whatever it is, firstly, we have to learn from it. We have to take away the lessons. This is intrinsic reflection or meditation, and we're going to think about what happened, right? What our experience was, and learn from it. But it's a necessary piece to get us to the next rung in the ladder, if you will. The next milestone in our lives. The good things, which will come. Those good things require us to go through these not so good things to get there. I'm reminded of a mountain when we have a life, right? And we are living our lives. We're living a trajectory. And we're traversing up this mountain. Up here, we're focused on achieving the peak where we can see for miles, where the sights are beautiful in every direction. But along the way, we're having to get through nooks and crannies, and sometimes we struggle to get a foothold. Sometimes it decides to rain on us, and the path becomes slippery. All of these things affect our journey, affect the path that we choose to go up this mountain. It is a conscious choice that we can make, each of us can make. For each experience that we have, as to whether it's a good memory, store it, love it, hold it, or whether it's a memory that we need to learn from. Okay? Those are memories too. And our perceptions, or our emotional filters, alter the way we see this event. As an example, people have come to me and spoken of their journey and the struggles that they've had in their journey. And we talk and we say, oh, well, what have you learned and how have you grown and all these things. And we talk about these things. And I find that many people look back on memories, old memories, with either, with mostly the extremes of the emotional scale, right? So we see it as being a very problematic thing or a very blessed, blessed thing. A lot of the fodder in between A and B, sometimes left away. The key to our experiences and the perception therein is understanding that they, when drawn, will go through an emotional filter of where you are today. So when we recall my childhood, now in my case, much of my childhood was destroyed when I overdosed 35 years ago. I overdosed on heroin. And so I lost a lot of my memory at that time. But there are snippets, and as time goes on, these snippets are slowly returning. And I remember a snippet where my father had hooked up this lawnmower base to an Alaskan Malamute dog that we had. And back then, I was a lot more courageous than I am now, rode this dog sled apparatus. And the dog took off like a shot, and I held on, in some cases for dear life, onto the reins as the dog darted and shot all around the neighborhood. I was utterly terrified during the event. The dog was dashing out in traffic. He had no cares. He was just running free. As I look back on it today, that event, I look back with a fondness to that event. I smile and chuckle and say, yep, I vaguely remember this. As the dog ran all over. This is back when I lived in a faraway place, Ohio, way over on the East Coast, or towards the East Coast anyway. And there was snow. It was about 6 to 7 inches of snow, new fallen snow on the ground when this event occurred. So looking back on it today, I could say, oh my gosh, I was dashing out in traffic with a dog sled on icy, snowy roads. How dangerous. And would I let my children do that? Probably not, honestly. Although I did hook up my children to a dog sled. But I look back on that memory with a great deal of fondness today. Our perceptions will change as our emotional states change. And so remember, the memories you're making today will be different when you review them down the road. Don't be so critical on yourself. You're learning. You've never been a human before. Right? Even if you haven't been this human. So we can't comprehend, as we're spiritually bonded to this physical form, we can't comprehend what the DNA, what the environment, what all of these factors are going to have to our perceptions of our experience of reality. We can't predict that. So as we celebrate Woden or Woden today and his quest for wisdom, I'm always also reminded of legends from my great-grandparents where Woden drank from the well of Erd. The well of Erd, of course, being the well that held one of the roots of Yggdrasil, or the center tree of life. So all of the experiences of all humanity and all the gods and all the trees and the grasses and animals and every life form that's ever been, all of their experiences had been captured through their spiritual entity into Yggdrasil and deposited in this well that Woden then drank from. So our experiences in this life are what gives us wisdom. It allows us to build the bridge between stacks or collections of knowledge all together, that we then have more or less an oversight of all of them. And we have this thing called wisdom. Now, eventually, when we recognize what it is, when our physical brain recognizes what it is, it then begins to build a trust in it. So it builds these supports of trust, and we begin to trust our wisdom. And that, my friends, is what we're looking to do. I won't say it's the end goal, because it's not, but it is one of those truly great things to accomplish, is when we begin to build trust in our wisdom. We begin to trust ourselves. This is a wonderful point, wonderful milestone in our growth and our evolution towards our eventual self. Don't be so critical of how you perceive the experiences that you have in this lifetime. They may be caused, your filtering, your filtering may be set from a previous experience, and thereby altering this new one. So remember, always take some time to reflect, to figure out which memories we can learn from. Because even the good memories we can learn from, right? Even the memories that we have that we hold dear to our hearts, we can learn from, right? So take some time for you today, particularly today on Wotens Day, and just really embrace the wisdom that we can glean from our previous experiences, and begin to deploy that wisdom in our future endeavors. All right? I know you have it in you. I know you are the perfect version of you. So take some time, get to know you, get up here in your own mind. And that way others can't undermine you, they can't confuse you, they can't buffalo you. You're good within your own skin, you're congruent, and you're living your whole existence in your authentic space. All right? Have a wonderful Wotens Day, my friends. Again, if you get the opportunity, please stop by our website. Ask a question. We can both learn from that. In addition, you can swing by store.akolfhefner.com, and there you can find totems to help us focus our energies. We can find potions that I've made available online. Those are really good potions that all of my friends here use, and have constantly requested. So I put them out online so that people can download them. You get a starter kit, and then you can just buy herb refills after that. And the herbs come in a prepackaged, vacuum sealed package. You simply dump it in your mason jar, and away you go. And you can have your own natural remedies available for you. All right? So stop by the store. We'll be happy to help you out and get that mailed out as soon as possible. All right, my friends. Have a wonderful Wotens day. Love and light.